I'll start now.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. Welcome, welcome. It's great to see you all here. My name's Natalie Bramble. I'm the chair of the New South Wales Tourism Awards. My last year as chair, I've been chair for a few years now. And welcome to everyone. Great to see you all here. We also have, I just wanted to quickly introduce some other fantastic people who support our awards as well. We've got the wonderful Sarah who will say hi and introduce herself when we talk about some key dates. And Sarah's the program manager, so thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Thanks. Hi, everyone.
We've got the wonderful Margaret, who is one of our fantastic judges. Love having you back, Margaret. I missed you last year.
It's good to be back.
So great to have you. And then we have the chair of the New South Wales Tourism Association and winner, the outstanding contribution to a tourism by an individual at last year's awards, the wonderful Laurie. Hello, Miss Laurie.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for bringing that one up now.
Every chance I get, Laurie, very well deserved.
I wasn't embarrassed last year. It's carrying on.
And so the session is being recorded because we have had some people that unfortunately haven't been able to make it. It was quite a popular workshop, but obviously we've still got some people coming in and joining us as we go through. So if we have anyone joining late, they'll be able to watch the recording, and if they're not able to attend or you need to leave early, you'll be able to catch up as well. If you have any questions, just bring up chat and ask away. If you've got something that is specific to your business, look, we understand awards are competitive, aren't they? I mean, that's the nature of them, right? So you might have something, a question very specific to your circumstances. Feel free. Sarah has also been a judge as well, so feel free to ask either Laurie, myself, Sarah, or Margaret confidentially. So to do that in chat, you would just select one of our names. And so what we'll do is we'll either be able to answer you or we might, if we think that that's a relevant thing that we'd like to share, we might also share that broader general answer, not your information, but the broader general answer to everyone as well. Recognising that those watching the recording won't be able to see it unless we talk about it. So if it's a general question, please feel free to ask everyone. That'd be fantastic. So that, sort of helps us all. Before we get started, I would like to first acknowledge country. Now, I'm actually learning Wiradjuri. I am getting there. My pronunciation is still not fabulous, but my teacher, the lovely, wonderful Auntie Iris from TAFE, who does the Civic One in Wiradjuri, certainly improved. So I'm just going to read this out in Wiradjuri with the endorsement of the elders, the local elders. So Yiridu Mirang, Yuanali Nadu Muji, Narobanyuga Galbara Yiniyamara, Wiradjuri Mayin Galang, Nurembangu, Nangeng Ninga, Nangira Durinyagai, Mendeng Guwu. So I'd like to pay my respects, Yindiyamara, to also extend those to anyone here with us today, identifying luckily with a very rich cultural heritage, traditional heritage, and welcome everyone and acknowledge the time that you're taking away from your work or your volunteering, fitting this in along. So welcome and thanks for coming along. We are all very excited to be talking about the Tourism Awards. We love these awards. We joke about it often in the judging team. There's, it's a little bit of an addiction. We love them so much. So because we love the benefits that they deliver. So we're going to be talking about the awards, particularly answering any questions that you have. First of all, we just wanted to kick off with a little bit of an overview. For some of you who have connected with the awards in the past, you'll notice there's a little bit of a change, an exciting change that was announced some weeks ago. And I'll now hand over to Laurie just to talk about the New South Wales Tourism Association, who is running, managing and administering the awards. Laurie.
Wonderful. Thanks, Nat. Yeah, so you might remember if you've been involved at all in the last 10 years, Business New South Wales were the licensee of the Tourism Awards, which meant that they had the arrangement with the Australian Tourism Industry Council to hold the awards and run the awards, as well as the accreditation, which is all part of the Quality Tourism Framework. And as Nat said, the reason why we're so committed to the awards is really what they stand for. And she's going to talk a lot about that today. But it all emphasises the importance of the quality tourism framework and all the different elements that combine to make a successful business. And that is licensed to the relevant states to deliver under the accreditation and also the awards program. So this year, 2024, was the birth of the New South Wales Tourism Association, and we have taken on that license to deliver those two programs. So we're very excited. It is a brand new organisation. We really felt that right at this time, with the conditions of the economy, the conditions of the industry, it needs a loud voice to really cut through a lot of the government policy that is happening. And we unfortunately saw that as a result from the budget yesterday. Our loss of funding in crucial areas like marketing, and also some concentration in the Sydney CBD, not discounting Sydney CBD is a really important part of our industry, but we'd like to see some dispersal coming from that. And that means that we need the funding to go in the right areas, and we want to support the government in understanding what needs to happen so that we can return better from our visitor economy. So we're very excited. We have a brand new team, and you can see on screen there our leadership team who have really made this what it is today and are very committed to the outcomes of tourism. So I thank them and their support behind me as chair in forging forward with this organisation. We now have some staff. So we have Sarah, who you've just recently met, Sarah Kersmith, who is our program manager. And we have just appointed our CEO who started this week, and that is Natalie Gobbard, who is on screen. Hi, Nat.
Hi.
So welcome to Natalie as well. And so don't get confused. One Natalie is chair of judges, one Natalie's the CEO. So, but yes, we've got a very exciting future, and we are very fortunate that we have compiled a lot of the strategic objectives of the organisation already. We're forging forward with that. We don't officially launch until the 25th of July, but with the awards being such an important program and getting it through to the national, we've started our work already. So yes, we're here for you. We hope that after July you come on as members yourselves and support your peak body, which we are. So thank you, Nat. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Thanks for Laurie, and nice to meet you too, Nat. It's going to be fun for everyone, isn't it? Nats and Nats. I might have to be Natalie or
We'll have to work it out. Either arm wrestle Nat.
Yeah. So it is an exciting change, isn't it, Laurie? Because it is about putting the industry and being a voice for the industry, which is something that an industry-led, not-for-profit who's focused just on the industry sort of fills that gap, and supported by some amazing people, as you can see on the screen. I'll just say, as you can see, because I haven't been notified of any visual impairments, if I recognise some of you actually might even be, listening in, maybe if you're driving or if you're watching on a mobile, not while you're driving, obviously, but if there is anything on the screen that is a diagram that needs an explainer, it's just helpful for me to know if you would like that explained, because it is a bit hard to see on a mobile, but you can always catch up on the recording as well. So just as a comment for accessibility. So the awards, oh my gosh, they're so exciting. We love awards season. We love going to the awards. We love it's like catching up with friends. It is, if you haven't ever been before, it is a very unique experience. I'm sure in the industry you've already experienced this. Tourism businesses, yeah, sure, we might be competitors, but guess what? We're also here to partner. We're also here to work together. And this is a key question that we ask you about in the awards. We know that if we work together, we're stronger, and we can provide a better proposition. We can increase length of stay. There's a whole lot of benefits that come from that. But, you know, it honestly is like catching up with friends, even if, you know, even if we might not win, we're still really happy for everyone else. I'm sure you are. So there's just some photos of a couple of our winners, and then a big group photo of all of our winners last year. So a big shout out and acknowledgement to them. And you can find out about our winners on our on the website. And I just want to encourage you not to be overly concerned. You know, don't feel threatened, or that you're less, or that, you know, oh, I'm just not sure, like they're big organizations, or you know, Margaret, it's certainly nothing to be concerned about, is it? It really, you know, one of the things that we're going to help you with is how do you actually write a strong application. Margaret, you've probably had this. I've looked at one organisation. This has happened a number of times, and I've thought, oh, this is going to be good because they're a big organisation. They've got a lot of resources. But actually, you read the application, and the, you know, smaller organisation, it might just be one person running an accommodation provider. Actually, there's a lot of strength in their application. So nothing to be concerned about when they look at winners, other winners.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that. And I've been super surprised when reading through submissions. Quite often it is the smaller businesses that the passion really shines through. You get a sense of the personality of the business as well as the operations, and obviously the achievements and outcomes and everything, which you don't always get a sense of with the larger organizations. And you can usually tell whether it's someone that's hands-on within their business that's written the submission, or whether it's been either someone external or someone that's in a marketing capacity within a larger organization. And you tend to find that there's a very different tone, and that tone is actually really important to the flow and the cadence of the submission.
Huge call out too to Love Lord Howe. They are a one-man band, and she took our gold not just at state but national as well. So there you go. If you say you haven't got enough resource, there's an example.
Yeah. So thanks, mate. And that's something that exactly as Margaret said, that our judges love to hear your passion and enthusiasm for your business. So for those organisations here that perhaps are a little bit larger, and you know, maybe that rider may be losing that sense, you know, just remember that you know, there's a hot tip for you to make sure that you're also reflecting you know, the consumer voice and your passion for doing what you're doing, your team's passion. So yeah, that was a great segue. Thanks, Laurie, to who our winners were. Yay! Australian Tourism Award winners. Very excited. It is 2023. It just happens early in the year. So if you win in and at our November awards, you'll then head off to it's actually in Adelaide. So you'll head off to South Australia in March. Always a good excuse for a little break as well. So big shout out to our winners at state, but also massive shout out to our winners who won at national. No reason for the underline. Apologies, that was just me. They were live links and I've not gotten rid of the underline. There's no difference there, but it's just a shout out to Balloon Aloft, Sydney by Kayak, Potager, Tweed Tourism, Australian Reptile Park, Love Lord Howe and Tumberfest, but also our finalists. So, you know, one of the great things about being a finalist at state level and national level, of course, but even at state level, is that you can actually use that as a promotion. Like that in itself does speak volumes for your business. If you're a finalist in an awards category, that, you know, this awards program is pretty comprehensive. So it does speak volumes. You know, I actually had a judge say, who's new to the awards program, and he said, yeah, there's no way that even if you wanted to, you know, to make sure that your entrant that you loved won, there's no way you could actually make it happen. The system is really, really robust, and not everyone makes finalist status. So it is certainly something that is a massive opportunity. We say to all of our entrants, after they've submitted, okay, now get your finalist campaign ready, because, you know, if you're a finalist, you're actually able to then use that. And I've entered awards for our social enterprise and our business, and even just that, you know, someone will say, oh, congratulations on the award. And it's like, well, it hasn't happened yet, but thanks. So you do get a lot of marketing leverage from that. So use that if you are a winner. Now, Margaret has been an entrant as well as a judge over the many years that you've been involved, Margaret, and I'd love you to share your insights with everyone. Like anything, we know that entering an awards program is a bit of a job. So what are some of the benefits for entrants to go through this process?
Yeah, definitely. So I think we first entered the Tourism Awards almost 10 years ago now, was the first entry into New South Wales. And I think we came in highly commended in our first year and then managed to improve. But I think the big thing that we found is in the first year, I took it very much as it was poetry and it was prose and it was, I write a little bit like that. If anyone's ever got an email from me, it's very, it's a novel, not bullet points. But what I've learned through the process is that what it is actually a really, really good way to get to grips with where your business has been, and then also use the process to establish where your business is going. So essentially the awards is tied in super closely to your strategic business planning. Everything from in terms of if you're a business that has a product, in terms of developing that product or innovations, around your training of your team, around how you market and who you market to, and how you identify what markets are best for you, and then down to ESG as well, and how you're actually making sure that what you're doing is not only getting results for your business and getting achieving customer satisfaction, but also doing things in a ethically responsible way as a tourism operator as well. So it really is a fantastic way to look at your business holistically and look at each aspect of it and bring all of those points together for the submission. And in doing that, you'll actually find that you learn so much about your business, and you learn where the gaps are. So you go, okay, if I go to answer this question and it's asking me, what are some strategies we've put in place to reach a new market or to reach a repeat market? And we go, hold on, we haven't actually done anything to attract that market, or we've done it in a very ad hoc, unstructured way. It actually provides you with a base and a platform to go, okay, how are we going to look at this strategically? What does success look like? And that then will tie in, as you'll see throughout these webinars, is the biggest thing we look for as judges is measurability. It's one thing to say, we've got a great business and we do great customer service, etc. But you need to then say, this is how we measured it. This is how we knew that our business was successful in achieving customer expectations or innovating a new product. So it really does just become a really good holistic way to look at your business plan and identify what your opportunities are and where you can improve.
Brilliant. Thanks, Margaret. I think it's really useful to hear that from an entrance perspective, because it's for us to say that, and many of us have actually entered the awards at some point or another, but just to hear that. And we've also got a couple of, you may have seen on socials, we've been sharing a couple of testimonials from some other entrants, loving what the award stands for, building quality businesses that are viable and sustainability. And it is really the learning, in this entrant in particular, I've learned more about my business by entering the awards than I have in the past 10 years. The questions, they're really about business foundations. And I know even bigger businesses, we all need to kind of refresh and think about, well, what have we achieved and how has that helped progress our goals? And in some cases it's, well, actually our goals need to change a little bit because the environment's changed or new things have happened. And another entrant, they've been doing it for 4 years and they'd be lost. I love that. Lost without the process. It's guided our business decisions, and it's certainly helped a lot of organisations. Bridge Climb, in their first years, they entered as well, and that really did help them look at their business. So again, it is very much a great opportunity to reflect. We have a range of categories. There's been a couple of changes. We've got a new categories. It's very exciting. Well, you'll hear more about that a little later. We'll release that information. Just having a few tech issues, but that'll be online in the next, by the end of the week, early next week, early Monday next week. So there are some range of different categories for you to look at. If this is your first time that you have been looking at the New South Wales Tourism Awards and to enter, I'm just going to show you the website. So this is where you'll find New South Wales tourismassociation.com.au. If you haven't already come across this website, you will find the Tourism Awards, and there's a whole page of information for you, including information about nominating. And Sarah's going to talk to the nomination dates. They have been extended, so you've got a little bit of time to decide, and Sarah will go through the key dates shortly. And we also have some categories, and I'm going to actually bring up some of these and some rules and regulations for you. So you can download a list of all of the categories, and hopefully you can now see this on my screen. Forgive any holiday photos or husband photos or cat photos. They're all tame, I assure you. So you'll be able to download a list of all of the categories. And if you have any questions about categories that you should enter, what you really need to be looking at is the category descriptor. And I'm just going to highlight and zoom in here. So let's just say you're an event, festival and event, and you've got two. You've got major or festival. Well, which one should I enter? In this case, it's pretty cut and dried. It's very, very clear. Over 50,000, all recognised as a major event. So this one is under 50,000 and not recognised as a major event. But some of them, you know, you might be thinking, oh, actually, I could enter a couple of different categories. Maybe you could enter cultural tourism if you meet the descriptor. And so in this case, it's about recognising businesses that foster a greater understanding and appreciation of authentic culture, history, heritage of the arts. So you might think, oh, I could actually enter that, and maybe I could also enter tourist attraction. And in this case, because, you know, maybe your visitation's under 100,000. So could I enter both? Of course you can enter both if the category descriptor meets it. There are some rules and regulations for some of the categories that I will show you. So for example, new tourism business, you can only enter that category. And I'll show you those in a moment, but just an important one. Now, category descriptors, and I'm just going to ask Laurie to jump in and share with everyone. Category descriptors is actually how we evaluate as a judge the strength of an organisation's alignment in the first question, isn't it, Laurie?
Correct, that's right. So it's not as, let's just say we don't want to see cut and pasting across multiple categories. The judges get very offended with that because they spend a lot of time looking at the criteria and what they want to get out of you to look at that particular category. So as an example, you know, if you were looking at that cultural tourism aspect, really highlighting your excellence in that culture, history, heritage, arts area. It's got to come to life. If you are a tourist attraction, it's about the success of that tourist attraction in a general scale. So really, you've got to focus on that particular category, knowing that if you get that gold award, you're being championed as the best business in that particular area or field. Okay, so make sure that you're really streamlining your responses to answer the questions, and don't be caught up in the copy paste across all the multiple categories.
Yeah, thanks, Laurie. And we're going to, the good news is, if you're just joining us for the first time, we're going to be providing some webinars that delve into each of the questions and give you some hints and tips on all of those. And you can find out about those webinars again on the page, on the information. I think it is here somewhere. I'm just not sure. Where is it?
At the top.
That's
Up
right.
the top. There it is, up the
Pension
top.
support and M&S.
I'll also put the link
Beautiful.
in the chat for everyone.
Oh, fabulous. Thanks, Laurie. So entrance support. There we go. Webinars are free. And why? Because we have wonderful judges who volunteer their time, and you'll get to meet a variety of different judges actually. But these are the webinars. So we provide all of that support. And there's additional support as well that Sarah will go into shortly. So the one other thing that I'll just share with you the one thing that I'll just share with you here is the rules and regulations. So this is again a document that can be downloaded. And these are the nomination rules. So for example, now we just looked at festivals and events. And remember, I sort of gave that indication of visitation. So here it's making it quite clear. You can only enter one, you can't enter both. You've got to decide where you fit. So that applies to a number of different categories. Accommodation's the same. You know, there is a star rating or equivalent. So, you know, those categories there, but also the other ones to be aware of as well. And pardon me, I'll just make sure you can see that, is if you have commenced trading or service delivery for the first time in the qualifying period, and so this is, here are our dates here, the 1st of July 23 to the 30th of June 24, then you're only eligible to enter new tourism business. So there's a couple of things there that to have a look through. Events and festivals, obviously, you know, it is for that piece. So there's a few things there to look at. And exactly as Laurie said in chat, unless you've got 2 products, but it's for each of those products that you're entering, you need to actually have a look and just make sure that you're looking at the rules and regulations where it may impact your decision. And you know, the great thing is that you've got help. So not only do we have the wonderful Sarah, who's just going to run through the key dates, but we've also got you know, our team, our awards committee, and we've got the national committee or the national team to check in with as well if there are any, you know, rather interesting ones that we do get from time to time. So I'll hand over to Sarah just to go through the dates.
Sure, thanks, Nat. Yeah, so nominations are open until the 7th of July. We have just made the decision to extend it by a week. So anyone who's been struggling with end of year reporting and things like that, there's going to be an extra week now to nominate. So we've got until the 7th of July. So a couple of weeks left, 2.5 weeks left to nominate. So the nominations process is really straightforward. So you, first of all, if you haven't previously been involved in any of the programs, awards or accreditation, you need to register as a new user. So you register in the portal with your basic company details, then you go into the nominations button. So that's where you then put in your nomination information. So that's going to include a 100-word summary of your business, some contact details, links to your TripAdvisor page and your social media and your website and things like that. When you have done that and you submit your nomination, that then comes through to me for approval. So we will approve the nominations when the payment is received. When you're in the nomination section, you choose to either pay by credit card there and then, or you can request an invoice to be automatically generated and pay from that. So once we've got your nomination and we've got your payment, then we approve your nomination. So once that's been approved, your access within the portal then opens up. So it means you can then start the process of writing and preparing your submission. From the 2nd of July, we actually start our entrance support webinars. So we've got a series of webinars weekly throughout July and August to take you through each step of the process in terms of writing your submission. So we'll talk you through each section, so with a themed webinar each week to guide you through that process step by step. We've got judges on board to help. You might see Margaret in there again, and we'll be there again. So absolutely there to help you every step of the way through this process. We're also offering draft submission review. So particularly if you're a first-time entrant and you're just not sure if you're on the right track, you are able to submit a draft of your submission to be reviewed by one of our judges. And the deadline for that would be the 21st of August. Okay, so the final submission deadline is the 6th of September. That date won't be moving, but the draft submission date is the 21st. So that just gives a couple of weeks for us to get it out to a judge, get some feedback, time for you to then edit and adjust in time to submit it on the 6th of September. So lots of help along the way. 6th of September feels like quite a long way off at the moment, but there is a fair amount that, you know, we are going to be providing to help you through that process. So the best way to do it is just to follow along. If you can, take it in sort of bite-sized chunks, and then it won't feel so overwhelming, and, you know, the process will be really beneficial for you. So any questions on dates? Yeah, here's my contact details. So feel free to reach out, admin@nswtourismassociation.com.au. Feel free to reach out. Perhaps you're not sure which category is the best one for your business. Perhaps you're considering entering more than one category. So reach out to me and I'll help you to make that decision. We'll have a look through the category descriptors and make sure that, you know, you are able to meet the criteria for the relevant ones. So just on that note, I think I'll get support from the rest of the team that if you are entering more than one category, that, you know, you really do need to make sure that it's just not a copy and paste of the same submission into those two categories. They need to have a very specific lens on each of those. So of course your foundational information will be very similar, but it will need to have a different perspective. So talk all that through with me. We want to make sure we start you on the right track, and we definitely want to support you in that process as we go through. So
Fantastic. Thanks, Sarah. That's great. And just you know, reiterating, I'm just going to stop sharing the screen now, because that's sort of the end of the formal presentation. But just reiterating, we are here to help you. We so want, you know, we recognize the value. We wouldn't be volunteering at you know, our time if we didn't really want to help your organization, your business, you know, achieve and succeed at the awards program. And there is one thing I did want to actually share. Forgive me, we'll go back to that. But we are definitely here. So any questions at all during the process, and again, we make those we provide in the webinars, we do enable Q&As. So you might have a very specific question that you want to ask about related to, you know, your organization. And again, you've got those opportunities to do that. There is one thing that I wanted to sort of finally finish on before we sort of open it up, and I ask our team if there's any final, you know, for this introduction session, any sort of final comments or things that they would like to share. And that is that we really wanted you to understand the way that submissions are scored. So when you have decided the categories that you'd like to look at, you're actually able to download more information, including the questions and the sorts of information that we would like to see in the responses. And so this business impact summary, which is the first one. This is really just about understanding, you know, what are some of the challenges that you've been through. We recognize that you know, some of us have dealt with some pretty significant environmental things in the last few years. So it's just really giving people an understanding. This is also very useful when you know, when you win and go to national, when other judges from other states are reading about, you know, what we've experienced in New South Wales and what your region's experienced, for example. So and then we have the introduction, and then it goes into, you know, those other areas. So business development, marketing, customer experience. Others have, we've got responsible tourism. Others have specifically things about culture. Campaigns have different questions. So they're depending on the category you choose, there's likely to be sort of different questions. We do follow in the webinar series a tourist attraction question. So pretty much the questions that that are relevant right across most of the categories, but some of the categories have specific questions. So, you know, if you have any questions about those, please again reach out. If you're joining a session, ask. But what I wanted to show you and sort of point you to at each of these, and I've just chosen tourist attractions and events to show you the difference. Right at the bottom, it actually tells you how your entry is going to be scored. So you'll notice here in tourist attractions that 70% of the is based on the submission. Now, the submission is, in essence, what you've written, what you've provided to support your written responses. So for tourist attraction, it's 70. There's an online review. Now you're given information about the online review and the sorts of things that we look for. So, you know, it's things like, do you have a booking button? You know, sometimes it can be really simple things. So it's a really great checklist for you to actually start working towards, to make sure that by the time we actually do the online review, it's ready and it's you know, you're presenting sort of the best that you can present. And you'll find that those online review things, it's pretty standard things that we would expect of a business to have or an entry to have. And in this case, we also have a consumer rating score. And I might actually ask one of the judges to expand on that. Maybe, Margaret, you've experienced that from an entrant. Oh, Sarah might. Okay, great. So a consumer rating score, Review Pro, and it's so important to make sure that you do some work, if you need to, around your consumer rating. I've mentioned this every year that since it's been introduced. It actually does make a difference. You know, we've had some amazing entries and applications, and they might have missed out by, you know, because their consumer rating score is not as strong as it could be. Sarah, would you like to expand on that a little bit for the entrance? Thanks.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so that consumer rating, so we use Review Pro, which consolidates your online consumer ratings from various sources. So TripAdvisor is sort of the first one that it's aligned to. You do need to have a minimum of 25 consumer online reviews in the 12-month period, in the qualifying period. Okay, so that is a condition of entry. So if your business doesn't currently have that many, is there any way that you can reach out to some previous guests who can do some online reviews before the end of, you know, before the 30th of June, because that is something that you will need. And yeah, so it's calculated. A consumer, you will get a calculation of your score. Okay, so that was what I was going to say from an administrative perspective. Maybe I'll pass over to Margaret, who can add to that.
And while Margaret gets ready, just to answer Jenny's question, yes, that does not apply to the new business category.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, the consumer review point is, I think it's an important part of the awards process, because obviously the submission is super important, but at the end of the day, the consumer ratings are a reflection on your business in real time, because you can write a very good submission, but we need to see that that's actually being followed through, and that visitor experience is actually being met in the real world and on that side of it as well. But it's also good practice for your business anyway to prioritize your Review Pro ratings and to prioritize your consumer satisfaction, because that's real-time feedback that you're getting from your visitors saying, yes, we love this about your business, or no, we don't. And if you haven't already got the Review Pro dashboards and databases, the semantics analysis and the ability to go in and work out what your business is doing well, what it's not doing well is super important. So yeah, don't underestimate the importance of that part of the consumer rating process.
Sarah, did you want to just respond to Jenny's question there?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was just typing it. But yeah, the question was, can Review Pro handle Google instead of TripAdvisor? I believe it can. It's just that it is automatically aligned with TripAdvisor, so that's sort of where it goes to first. But I believe it can also accept reviews from other places. Yeah.
And as part of the new membership, which we'll be establishing from 1 July in the organisation, every member gets access to Review Pro for 12 months of the year. So now you're going to be able to watch and measure and build this over the year, which we are so excited about.
That is an amazing member benefit. Congratulations to Laurie and Nat and the team for pulling that together. So yeah, we did want to sort of highlight that because you can start working on that now, but also just a recognition that not all categories do have the same scoring. So this is festivals and events, and you'll notice that 90% on the submission and 10% on the review. So but obviously consumer rankings are really important, so regardless of whether it is part of it, it's something we should all be doing. Fantastic. So I'm just going to stop share now, and just some final thoughts from our team, and then we'll hand over to an open Q&A. And for the open Q&A, we generally stop the recording just so that you can feel safe to share what you'd like to share in an unrecorded environment. So I'm just going to start from my end and work back. We'll start with Miss Margaret. Final thoughts for everyone.
So as rewarding as the process is, it's also super competitive. So just keep that in mind when you're doing the criteria. When we get to the judging point, it can be the difference of 1 or 2 points between a place or not. And especially if you go to nationals, I've been fortunate to judge nationals a couple of times. You're basically looking at the gold winner from every single state, and that gets really, really, really hard. And it can be within half to a point to try and get that separation for the places. So make your points. The best way I've found personally to approach doing your submission is go through all of the questions and the criteria that are on the website and just bullet point your answers in. Then expand on that and add in your tactics and your data. And the data is a huge thing. If you make a claim, you need to back it up. So avoid generalizing, make your points, add in your data, show passion. Don't go over the word count or the image count. And that includes using images in your answer that have words in them that answer the question, because you will get penalized. And as harsh as it sounds, I've taken points off submissions for going over word counts, for using images that contribute to a word count, for not having proper punctuation, because when you start to get to that point where it's competitive, all those things, and that can actually be the difference between placing or not placing, or winning or not winning. So it is competitive, so watch your attention to detail. But yeah, you'll find that it's a really rewarding process as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Margaret. And the value of participating in the webinars as we go through and reinforce those things as well. Sarah.
Just to say, we're here to help you and support you. We really, this is why we do it. We're all passionate about helping tourism businesses and seeing the industry grow and improve all the time. So please reach out, at any stage with any questions, with you're getting stuck in the portal with nominations, or you don't know which category to be in, or just please reach out. We're here to help and support you, and come to all the webinars.
Yeah, definitely. I support all of what's been said, and we're actually doing a new webinar. So if you are a past entrant, this is a new webinar, is getting application ready. So that's our first webinar on the 2nd of July. And that is, it's very difficult to write answers if you don't have the information. So it's actually about what are the key documents, what are the key things that you should have ready. And some of those are also examples that our judges, if there's a business verification required, business verification, what that means is a judge will organise a meeting with you, and they'll just, verify things like, oh, okay, can you show me your risk management plan? So, I think it was Laurie that said you can write whatever, all these things, but we need to prove that it's, that they're real. So you'll find out a little bit more about that, but we're certainly covering that on the 2nd of July. I'm just going to hand over now to Laurie to do a summary and a wrap, and then Laurie will stop the recording and we'll go to open Q&A. Laurie.
Oh, thanks, Nat. Look, guys, I think the key takeaways that I'd love you to think about is, whether you're a first timer, second timer, or whatever, the time you spend in this submission, and I did put in the chat, is well worth your time to go through what has been in the making for 40 years, the Quality Tourism Framework. We're celebrating our 40th year next year. So the way it's been structured is not just to ask you questions off the cuff. This is structured questions that help build a plan, even if you don't have one. Now, you didn't hear that from me, but this is a process that you could build a business plan from. So by reviewing your past, you can set up your future plan for your business. So the submission process in itself, I cannot commend enough. And as I said in the chat too, you'll use this content again and again and again, and that's been proven by our entrants. The other thing to remember that, yes, it's $250 to enter, but you're actually getting about $1,800 worth of value of feedback from 3 professional judges on your business. So when you actually get your feedback, each of the 3 judges have spent up to an hour and a half each on your business, and they're commenting on different things. Have you thought about? Have you looked at this? They're not just critiquing what you've written, they're thinking about your business and what you could look at next. So it's incredible value that you're getting from this. It's like having 3 consultants review your business. So as everyone said, we can't promote this enough. I think it's an amazing program to really set a good business instead, and for forward thinking. But guys, thank you so much for attending. I do want to ask you to all ask this quick question that's going to pop on your screen before we get into questions today, just to give us a bit of a flavour for how you're thinking. And also, we'd love your feedback. So if you want to provide us any ideas on how we could run these in the future, we have 8 hours of webinars coming up in July and August. So we'll take on your feedback to make sure they're going to be well worth your time in attending. So on that note, I'll stop the recording and we'll open it up for specific questions or comments.